Have you ever wondered how colors influence your psyche? This video uncovers the hidden secrets of the colors. 1. Red, the primitive pulse. Human vision is fundamentally tuned to the primary triad of red, green, and blue. But red is the undisputed commander of the spectrum. It is the color of the extremes: anger and authority, passion and peril. Historically, it was our first artistic expression. Cavemen painted with red ochre to represent the two most vital elements of survival: fire and blood. In psychology, the red effect suggests that wearing this hue doesn't just increase perceived attractiveness, it signals dominance. In competitive sports and dating, red acts as a biological warning shot to rivals. It is highly stimulating, physically raising your heart rate and energy levels. This isn't lost on corporations. Brands like Coca-Cola, Netflix, and McDonald's use red to bypass your logic and trigger a sense of urgency and appetite. Yet, it remains the ultimate signal of failure in finance and security, the color of the loss, the stop sign, and the predator. 2. Blue, the infinite calm. Our ancestors looked up and saw the sky. They looked down and saw the sea. Consequently, blue is hard-coded into our psyche as the color of stability and the divine. It is the physiological opposite of red, lowering blood pressure and inducing a state of tranquility. Historically, blue was the color of the elite. Because pigments like ultramarine were incredibly rare and expensive to produce, they were reserved for Egyptian royalty and the highest-ranking Romans. In many cultures, blue represents integrity and loyalty, rooted in the belief that the sky would remain constant day after day. However, not everyone finds peace in the azure. Those with chromophobia, the fear of colors, can find clear skies or open water terrifying. While light blues evoke the gentleness of a beach, darker shades represent the cold, calculated intelligence of the deep ocean, which is why it remains the gold standard for corporate uniforms and formal authority. 3. Yellow, the analytical sun. Yellow is the color of the sun, the literal source of life on this planet. In ancient Egypt, it was the skin of the sun god Ra, synonymous with divine power. Psychologically, yellow is unique. It is believed to stimulate the left side of the brain, the seat of logic, problem-solving, and analytical thought. This makes it a powerful tool for focus in educational settings, but it carries a sharp, dual meaning. Because it is the most visible color to the human eye, it is the universal signal for caution. From traffic lights to radioactive hazard signs, yellow screams for your attention. Artistically, it was the obsession of Vincent van Gogh, used to capture the raw energy of sunlight. Yet, in the 17th century, it had a darker side. It was often the color used to mark outcasts and public debtors, turning a vibrant hue into a target of social disdain. 4. Green, the poisoned harmony. Green is the color of renewal, the signal that winter is over and the forest is thriving. Today, it is the face of environmentalism and sustainability, a branding tool used by companies like Whole Foods to tap into our instinctual desire for natural harmony. However, the history of green is stained with toxicity. In the early 1900s, Paris green was the height of fashion. It was a stunningly vibrant pigment used in wallpaper and dresses, but it was made with arsenic. People were literally dying for the color. Beyond its physical dangers, green has a psychological darker side: jealousy. Shakespeare famously called it the green-eyed monster in Othello, a phrase that evolved into the modern green with envy. Whether it represents the growth of a stock market bar or the sickness of a jealous heart, green remains the most complex bridge between life and decay. 5. Orange, the sacred vitality. Born from the marriage of red's power and yellow's joy, orange is the color of vitality and the changing seasons. It captures the essence of autumn and the cycle of life, making it a favorite for adventure-driven branding. but its most profound use is spiritual. In Buddhism, the saffron robe is a symbol of the highest order. Traditionally dyed using the labor-intensive saffron crocus, these robes represent a monk's dedication to their path. Orange in this context is the color of detachment. By wearing a color that represents the fire of transformation, monks signal their commitment to a life of simplicity and humility, far removed from the clutter of material goods. 6. Purple, the expensive mystery. For centuries, purple was the color of the impossible. The production of Tyrian purple dye involved crushing thousands of sea snails, making it so expensive that only Roman emperors and Phoenician royalty could afford it. It is the color of luxury and indulgence, a legacy carried today by brands like Cadbury and Hallmark. Yet, purple is also the color of the veil between worlds. In many religions, it represents the link between the physical and the spiritual, worn by bishops to signal their connection to the divine. In the early 20th century, it even became linked to purple energy, a psychic phenomenon where believers wore the color to enhance their supposed supernatural sight. It remains the color of the mystic, the royal, and the unknown. 7. Black, the fertile void. To our ancestors, black was the color of the night, the time when predators ruled and fire was our only shield. This ancient fear translated into our modern association with death, mourning, and the finality of the grave. However, black is also the color of absolute authority and confidence. It is the statement of the fashion icon and the business leader, a color that invites contemplation and demands respect. In ancient Egypt, black was actually a symbol of life. The rich black silt left by the flooding Nile was the source of all abundance. It is a paradox, the color of the end, but also the fertile ground from which everything begins. 8. White, the clinical ideal. White is the color of the unblemished, purity, innocence, and the tabula rasa, or clean slate. In medieval times, alchemists viewed white as a sacred stage in the creation of silver or gold, representing a state free from all earthly impurity. In modern design, white is the soul of minimalism, providing a sense of clarity and focus, like a swan on a still river. But there is a coldness to this purity. In hospitals and laboratories, white is clinical and sterile. While it represents the joy of a wedding in the West, its lack of warmth can also feel detached and distant, a void where human emotion is replaced by surgical precision. 9. Pink, the blushing power. Pink is often dismissed as a soft color, associated with romantic love, childhood innocence, and traditional femininity. It evokes tenderness and vulnerability, seen in everything from Valentine's hearts to peer-pressured gender norms in nurseries. But pink's history is far more active. In the late 20th century, drunk tank pink, Baker Miller pink, was famously used in prison cells under the theory that it could physically suppress aggression and lower muscle strength, though the science remains debated. Today, the color is being reclaimed. From the resilience of the breast cancer awareness ribbon to high fashion empowerment, pink is shifting from a symbol of gentleness to a symbol of defiance. It is a color that proves our perceptions are never static. They are always evolving with the culture. Did you know these facts about colors? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next frequency. In part 2, we're going to look at the forbidden colors, the ones that shouldn't exist, and the ones that were banned.